The envelope felt like poison in Marcus Webb's pocket. He stood outside Cafe Rosewood, watching couples drift past in the golden evening light, and wanted to be sick. Inside that envelope was $3,000, more money than he'd seen in months, more money than he needed to keep the lights on, to buy Sophie's asthma medication, to stop the landlord's threats. All he had to do was walk into that cafe, sit across from a woman named Emma Chen, and make sure their blind date was a disaster. The text message from his ex-wife's new husband still glowed on his cracked phone screen. Just be yourself, Marcus. That should be terrible enough. $3,000 if she never wants to see him again. Marcus closed his eyes. 6 months ago, he'd been an architect with a corner office. Then came the diagnosis. Sophie's rare autoimmune condition, followed by the medical bills, the missed work, the divorce, the layoffs. Now he was a single father working 2 jobs and still drowning. And Trevor, his ex-wife's wealthy new husband, knew exactly how desperate he was. The setup was simple. Trevor's business partner, David, had met Emma through a dating app. She was a pediatric surgeon, brilliant and accomplished. But David's parents were old-fashioned. Trevor had explained with barely concealed disgust, and they'd lose their minds if David brought home a woman with dwarfism. Rather than be honest, David wanted Emma to reject him first. Enter Marcus, posing as David, paid to be so awful that Emma would run. "It's just one dinner," Trevor had said. "She'll be fine. She's probably used to disappointments." The casual cruelty of that statement had made Marcus's blood boil. But Sophie's inhaler was empty, and the pharmacy wouldn't extend more credit. He pushed open the cafe door. Emma was already there, seated at a corner table by the window. Marcus spotted her immediately, not because of her height, but because she was laughing at something on her phone. Her whole face lit up with unguarded joy. She wore a deep blue dress that brought out the warmth in her dark eyes, and her hair fell in soft waves around her shoulders. She looked up as he approached, and her smile was so genuinely welcoming that Marcus felt something crack in his chest. "David?" she asked, standing. She was 4'3", he guessed, but carried herself with such confidence that the detail felt irrelevant. "Yeah," Marcus lied, the word tasting like ash. "Emma, hi." "I'm so glad we're finally doing this," she said as they sat. "Your messages were so sweet." It's rare to find someone who actually asks questions and listens to the answers. "You know?" Marcus's throat tightened. David's messages. Of course, David had been charming online. He just didn't want his parents to know. The plan had been simple. Be rude, be dismissive, check his phone constantly, maybe make a few comments about her career being cute. Instead, Marcus found himself paralyzed as Emma talked about her day, a successful surgery on a 7-year-old with a congenital heart defect. "His parents were so scared," she said softly, "but he's going to be okay. That's the part of my job that never gets old, telling parents their child gets to have a future." Sophie. Marcus thought of his own daughter, 8 years old and fighting her body's betrayal every day. That must be, I can't imagine how rewarding that is. It is. Although today I also had to explain to a teenager why his TikTok-inspired stunt broke his arm in 3 places. She rolled her eyes with affectionate exasperation. "Medicine is never boring." Marcus laughed, a real laugh, the first in months. "I have a daughter, Sophie. She's 8. She'd probably try the same TikTok stunt." Emma's expression softened. "You're a dad? You didn't mention that in your messages." Because David isn't a dad, Marcus thought, feeling like he was sinking. "Yeah, she's my whole world." They ordered food. Marcus kept waiting for the right moment to be awful, to do what he was being paid for. But every time, Emma smiled or shared a story or asked him something with genuine interest, the words died in his throat. She told him about her medical school experience, about being underestimated by professors who assumed she couldn't handle surgery because of her height, about proving them all wrong. "The surgery table adjusts," she said with a wry smile. "But people's prejudices don't, not always. I've had patients' families request a different doctor when they see me. It used to hurt. Now I just let my work speak for itself." "That's incredibly strong," Marcus said quietly. "Or stubborn," she grinned. "My mom says I was born stubborn. When I was 4, I decided I wanted to be a doctor, and I never considered anything else." The waitress brought their meals. Marcus pushed his pasta around his plate, appetite gone. This woman was extraordinary, brilliant, kind, funny, graceful about the discrimination she faced. And he was here to humiliate her for $3,000 because some coward couldn't stand up to his parents. "Is everything okay?" Emma asked. "You seem far away." Marcus looked up. Her eyes were concerned, searching his face with the same attention she probably gave her patients. The envelope in his pocket felt like it was burning through his jacket. "Emma," he said slowly, "I need to tell you something." She set down her fork, giving him her full attention. "I'm not David." Confusion flickered across her face. "What?" The story came out in a rush, who he really was. Trevor's offer, the setup, all of it. With every word, Marcus watched Emma's expression shift from confusion to understanding to something that looked like disappointment, so profound it made him physically ache. When he finished, the silence was deafening. "So David doesn't want to meet me because of what I look like," she said finally, her voice carefully neutral. "And you agreed to humiliate me for money." "Yes," Marcus whispered. "I'm so sorry. I was desperate. My daughter's medication costs. But that's not an excuse. There is no excuse." "I'm sorry." Emma was quiet for a long moment, studying her hands. When she looked up, her eyes were bright with unshed tears, but her voice was steady. "Do you know what the hardest part is? I really liked him. The messages, I mean. The man I thought I was meeting. He seemed different." Marcus felt like he'd been punched. "Emma? But you know what?" She straightened her shoulders. "I'm glad you told me. You could have just been awful and left, taken the money, and I would have thought I'd done something wrong. Again. I would have wondered what was wrong with me. But you told me the truth. That took courage." "It's the bare minimum of human decency," Marcus said miserably. "You'd be surprised how rare that is." She took a sip of water, composed herself. "Your daughter, Sophie, what medication does she need?" Marcus blinked at the sudden shift. "What? No, I wasn't telling you that to—" "I know, tell me anyway." So he did. He told her about Sophie's condition, about the prescriptions, and the specialist appointments and the nights he lay awake, calculating impossible math. Emma listened with the same focused attention she'd given everything else. When he finished, she pulled out her phone. "I'm texting you the name of a colleague who specializes in pediatric immunology. Dr. Sarah Park. She's brilliant, and she works with families on payment plans. Can you bring Sophie in next week?" "Emma, I can't ask you to—" "You're not asking? I'm offering." Her expression was firm. "And Marcus? Don't take that money from Trevor. Whatever you do, don't take it. I already agreed, so unagree. Tell him you can't go through with it. Tell him the truth, that I'm a human being who deserves better than this." She stood, gathering her purse. "We both do." Marcus stood too, feeling untethered. "I don't understand. Why are you helping me? After what I almost did?" Emma looked at him for a long moment. "Because you didn't. Because when it mattered, you chose honesty over $3,000, even though you desperately need that money. That tells me who you really are." She paused at the door. "And because I'm a surgeon, I fix things. It's what I do." She left before Marcus could find words. He stood there stunned until the waitress gently asked if he needed anything else. He paid for both meals, the least he could do, and walked out into the cool night. The text to Trevor was simple. "I can't do this. Find someone else." Trevor's response was a string of curses and threats. Marcus blocked the number. That night, Sophie asked why he seemed different. "You look less sad, Daddy," she said from her nest of blankets. Marcus hugged her tight. "I met someone who reminded me what kind of person I want to be." 2 weeks later, Dr. Park found a treatment protocol that actually worked for Sophie. 1 week after that, Marcus received an envelope in the mail. Not cash, but a job offer from a medical campus that needed an architect for their expansion project. The note inside was unsigned but written in familiar handwriting. They need someone who understands that buildings should serve the people in them, not the other way around. Marcus never saw Emma again, though he looked for her every time he visited the medical campus. But 6 months later, standing in Sophie's room as she slept peacefully for the first time in years, he understood what Emma had really given him. She'd given him the chance to be better. and that was worth more than any amount of money.